Hi, welcome to Square Ruth. That's my nickname and that's my show. You may have seen my Da Vinci episodes, Da Vincify Your Mind. Well, it's all about using your brain in a more complete way, using more of your brain than you ever thought possible. Today, this is the No Math video. There's no math in it. And for half an hour, all it's going to do is tell you how you can become a math person. Some people would love to become a math person. They say, oh, I just can't do math. I hate math. And I'm going to show you the three components, the three parts of what it's going to take to be a math person. I was a math teacher. My life's work is helping people who avoid math. I don't say math anxiety. I say avoiding math, because that's a decision. And by you looking at this video today, you're going to be making some decisions as to how you're going to do what you really need to do to give yourself freedom. That's one reason I became a math teacher. It gives people freedom. Freedom of choice in what they can do with their futures. With a math background, you can do all kinds of careers. You can major in practically the whole list of majors that a college offers. If you don't have a math background, there's a short list of what you can major in. Not that you have to become an engineer or any kind of a career that requires math, but I'd like you to have the choice. And that's what this is about. This is what lights me up. This is what makes me feel so good. It's my life's work, helping people who avoid math. This is the math person's mindset. It's first, you have to shut off negative emotions. Second, you have to deal with the rules of math and notice them and practice them. And the third is, you have to enjoy getting stuck. Where do you see how all these three things work? The first, shut off your negative emotions. Math anxiety, math avoidance is an emotional situation. If someone's going to sit down with you and help you, it's not a matter of, okay, let me explain this to you and speak clearly. It's, you need to be comfortable with math, because it's going blank because of the emotions erases everything that person says. And all you want to do is get out of there. What this person says is huge, because negative emotions toward math often start in childhood, by things that were said by someone. Maybe a classmate, maybe a teacher, maybe a parent, saying to you, what are you, dumb? Why don't you get this? It's so easy. Or a teacher saying, I just explained that. Where were you? And if a teacher ever says to a kid, you just don't have a mathematical mind, that's a death sentence. Because people think that math people are smart, especially math teachers. And if a math teacher says to you, you don't have a mathematical mind, you take it as the truth, and that's it for you, and that seals your fate. Well, you came to the right place. Just keep watching. I'm not going to be mentioning, I won't mention any numbers, no geometric figures. I'm not even going to point out my mathematical jersey, my bracelet, my earrings that go with the jersey. No, none of that. It's just about you and how you connect with math. All right, the first one. How are you going to shut off negative emotions? You might not have negative emotions just about math. If you're a normal human being, you have major things on your mind at certain times in your life, sometimes more than others. And you go into a math class and all you can think about is the problem in your life. How are you going to listen to this math teacher? Well, you need a little shelf in your brain, an imaginary shelf where you can take that problem that's so powerful to you, it overcomes everything. You take that problem because you can't deny it. You can't just say, I'm going to forget about it, because you can't. You save space in your brain to put it toward the back and allow yourself to focus. You need to breathe. Breathing helps. Breathing helps a lot. It can help you get into the current moment. Right in the current moment is where all the power is. That's very important. You need to clear your head of the negative emotions. And then during the lessons, when they come back, because they'll come back. You kick them out again. It just is a process. When you do these 3 steps to the math person's mindset, it's different from the way you might normally act. But you just put this on for when you have math to do. When you don't have any math in front of you to do, you can go back to being your regular self. You should see my regular self, as opposed to my math teacher voice. They're different, but we all play roles. And if you're going to do math, there are certain things you need to do. All right, you find a way to, on an ongoing basis, shut off your negative emotions. Shut them off like a faucet, and just picture that happening. All right, the second. This is where you and your cell phone, or you and some very nice, calm person, has to be a calm person. Can't be anyone who gets impatient, because that's going to get the negative emotions going. Your cell phone, if you want to learn some of the rules and details of math, you type in fractions. You type in changing a decimal to a fraction. You change in percents, percent of increase, whatever term you want, and Google it, and tap videos. And you will get the nicest people explaining them to you. It's unbelievable. And if you don't get it the first time, you can tap it over and start it again. That's how my husband and I fix things around the house. We watch the video, we don't get it, we do it again, and we get it. It works so well. So this is a key to helping you work on the details of math. Math has a lot of details. Think in your life, what do you do that has a lot of details? What hobbies do you have? What card games do you know? What video games do you play? What do you have in your kitchen? What do you have in your entire house? How many people's names do you need to know in these different groups you're in? There are a lot of details in life, and there are details in math. And you need to notice, the word notice is very important. You need to notice every picky little thing in math. That's why some people hate it. They don't want to be that picky. But let me tell you, you need to get very comfortable with picky little details in math. Imagine you're becoming a master carpenter and you have all kinds of tools and you keep them in a certain order. You have shelves that in a cabinet where every type of tool with different sizes is kept in a very orderly way. That's how you need to keep math rules in your head. And if you ever forget a math rule, like the Pythagorean theorem, you can Google it and get it right back. Now you may say, well, does that mean I don't have to memorize the tables or anything like that? You know, they're saying now you don't really need to, but I don't agree. I'll tell you why. It has to do with how the brain works. I'm going to be using terms like neurons, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, neuroneogenesis. It's all related to the brain and how it works. In NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which I started to study in the 1980s, we think in auditory terms, like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, or that sounds right, or that rings a bell, yes. Or kinesthetic feeling terms, oh, that rubs me the wrong way. No, I honestly, I can't get the grasp of that. And visual terms, do you see what I mean? Let me point out the next thing. Let's see the big picture of this. How do you think math people talk? Scientists, engineers. They don't say, yeah, I hear you. They say, I see what you're saying. If you're going to do math, there are a lot of details. Auditory terms can't handle those details. Sensory terms can't handle those details. Only the visual that can handle the precise details that you need for math. You need to be very, very picky and very intense about the details. But remember, this is only when you're doing math. When your math is done, you go back to your regular self, which is a pure joy of a way to be able to shift gears like that. That's That's what this no math video is about. Remember I said there are no numbers in this video. That comes in the future. I have other videos coming for you. I have you'll see this, the Basic Math Starter Kit. In plain English, I tell you how to do basic math. I have, let me see my little list. I have Math and Parenting, all the different things about math and how to relate to your children and how you can help them. And don't say, oh, I was never good in math, so of course he's not going to be good in math. That's the way it is. Don't say that. All right? Just say, all right, we're going to hope for the best and go in there and study and get your extra help. You have to be encouraging. And when smart kids have trouble with math, there's a whole reason why that can be. That's in the Math and Parenting. How do you help a smart kid who gets A's in everything and a D in math just because the teacher says, I can't fail the kid, he tries? Well, you want to get that D to become a self-confident A or B, and I'm going to be telling you what you have to do for that. And the No Math Math book. This is the No Math Math video. I have a No Math Math book that has no math in it. There are numbers in it, but just the page numbers. It tells you all about this. It's 80 pages long, and you can just read it like a novel. All right, so now, the details of math. You have to be so particular. But think about what you have learned and something that you've worked very hard at learning, like maybe in sports, or maybe in any other field, or languages or something, singing, and then people say, oh, you make that look so easy. And if you say to yourself, yeah, well, if you practice as much as I do, you'd make it look easy too. It takes a lot of practice. And if someone gets an answer ahead of you, if you're a student, don't say, oh, he got it, I didn't get it. Because that's what junior high school kids, I got it, call on me. They get out of their seat. And then the other ones say no. And it starts mostly in junior high school, the feeling of they get it, I don't. And that can last a lifetime. What you need to do is say to yourself, well, math is going to be something that I have to put my mind to it. What does that mean, put your mind to it? It's all in this video. You want to think in visual terms, look at the rules. People think of math in different ways. Some people do little sing-song verses to keep them on track with a formula. Some people write over and over how a rule is done. Some people will try a problem. I learned this from a friend of mine. Her son ended up going to West Point, after having terrible times in math in school, in high school. She made sure he did his homework, and she said, all right, here's the first time you're doing the problem. Then put that away and try it again as if you never saw it. And if you can't, then copy what you just did on this one problem, and then put that away and do it again as if you never saw it. You're going to build in a reflex action to be able to do these kinds of problems. Well, there's not just computation problems. There's also where you have to do problem solving, where you have to think of and devise a whole new way of doing a problem. What happens? You might get stuck. Well, if you're into math, you love getting stuck. Mathematicians, if they're not getting stuck, they figure they're just doing busy work. Why bother? They've practiced it, why do busy work? Although, myself, I could do a whole page of that, and it's just so relaxing. I have a cousin who's a math teacher. We just consider it so relaxing to do computation problems. It just feels so nice when they come out. But you don't want to just do things that are routine. What do you do when you're stuck? All right, there's a little kind of a song. It's a song, but not a big song. When you don't know what to do, write down something that is true. Every time I do SAT prep tutoring, those problems are sometimes cowabunga strange. And the kid will look at it and say, I never saw anything like this. And I say to him, remember what the method is. When you don't know what to do, write down something that is true. You pick something in it that you can write a fact, and then you tweak it. You do something to it. You change a fraction to a decimal. You change it to easy numbers. And see what happens with easy numbers. And you, by creativity, you play hunches. And you have this belief that if I keep doing legal things, and you know legal things because you trained yourself in the math rules, you keep doing legal things, you are going to get to that answer. That's how mathematicians do it. You don't usually hear mathematicians telling you they love to get stuck, but they all do. And that's the doing of math. It's not just producing right answers to computation. And it gives you such an excitement when you check the answer and it comes out right with what the answer key says. It's like getting a tap on the head. It feels so nice. So you can get there. You can get to become a math person if you do these things. Now, what's it going to take for you to be confident? Because it's kind of a long haul. You're not going to do this in an afternoon. How do you stay confident? You have to stay in the present moment. Your brain can do so many things as long as it doesn't get clouded up and have you go blank. And you say to yourself, all right, if I go blank, it's just like my computer. If I hit restart, it goes blank. That is not a crisis. You start again. You say to yourself, I'm going to find a way to keep doing this. Or you put it aside for a while. Get calm. Get rid of the memories of someone saying, I don't know why you don't get this. You must be stupid. I already explained it to you. Where were you? And they have this look in their eye, and you never forget that. But you have to forget that. You have to say to yourself, that was them, that was then. Now is what matters. Now is what's real. Because the past is memories. If you look at the past as, this is why I can't do math, that's a memory. You can reframe that. You can rephrase that. You can say, that happened back then. That person shouldn't have said that. You don't say that to a kid. But that's them. Not going to worry about it. What matters is now. What's real is now. And I don't want to have all these memories. Think of what's possible. Think of what's possible for you as you move on. As you get more things in your background, and you say to yourself, if I just dwell on all the negatives, I'm going to get nowhere. I have to be right here and now. I have to get out of any kind of a negative attitude if I'm going to achieve, because I plan to do math. You need to say to yourself, I can do this. Henry Ford said, if you believe you can do something, or if you believe you cannot do that thing, you're right. You take your pick. If you believe you can do it, you're going to make it happen. You're going to find ways that make it happen. You're going to see obstacles as something that you work past. If you believe you can't do it, you'll find ways to trip yourself up, to prove to yourself that you can't do this. And when a student comes to me lost and I find a way to explain it whereby they get it, they say, oh, I get it. It makes my heart sing. And that's been happening to me since 1967. I've been tutoring and teaching all this time. I've tutored in cities. I've tutored in the suburbs. I've taught thousands of students. And it is the most beautiful thing when you find a calling that makes you feel like a whole person. That's what helping people get better at math. I keep trying to avoid the words math anxiety because you don't want to treat it as, oh my gosh, this is a big phobia. And speaking of phobias, if you're a teacher listening to this or a parent listening to this, if you're going to help someone, a young person, you need to remember what you're afraid of. So you know the fear. They're not coming to you with just a logical question. They are coming to you terrified. And quite often, they would rather put their hand on a hot stove than do math. But they came to you for some help. So what are you afraid of? Do you hate snakes? Or being up high on a ladder? Or being in an elevator and it starts to make noises and you don't know if it's going to stall? Or going to the edge of a cliff where there's no railing? What are you afraid of? For me, it was the Rubik's Cube. with my little 7-year-old son, who's now in his 50s. He, at age 7, could do that thing, and I just didn't focus. I see now I should have focused a lot better, but I didn't. And I could never get it. My little son could whip it around and get it, and I said to myself, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to go back to that Rubik's Cube and make myself get it, because I want to remember that feeling, that fear that I'm dead in the water. I'm never going to learn that, because I need that empathy. You, as a person who explains, you are hugely important to a student who avoids math. Keep that memory in you of your fear so that you have empathy, and you can be very encouraging to that person. You can say to them, all right, I explained it, but I'll explain it again. And I'll just talk it. I'm not going to get impatient with you. I'm not going to say, hey, I just explained it. Where were you? I'm just going to tell it to you again, just the way I did. Same tone of voice. Ask me again. And if you still don't get it after you go home, take the cell phone, Google that item, and have those really nice people tell you all about it, and you'll be all set. You know, this is so worth it. This is absolutely worth it. You can do so much. You can open up your whole future. And I have a very interesting thing that you might like that I have done with all my classes. I get them to understand that math is a picnic. Now, it is a picnic. Sometimes when you're a teacher, kids fall behind. Sometimes a whole bunch of kids fall behind. And so I have this saying, when the chips are down and you're in a pickle, let us muster our forces and catch up. So that, now, you'll be saying hot dog, math is a picnic, but you'll be on a roll. So lads and lassies, work hard so the grades go up. I know this is corny, but don't be antsy. You work all this out, you get yourself to do this stuff, and tomorrow, you'll say, I love math. My students always got a kick out of that. Well, it was a pleasure to do this with you today. I hope it helped you. I hope it opened the world up for you a little bit. You can go to my website, squareruth.com. Let me know. You can contact me with the email on my website, ruth@squareruth.com. I would love to know. I'd love to know if you have any suggestions, any things that made you very happy to hear. I hope this was really good for you. Thank you for watching.